we're still going to do the public hearing anyway, so. Right.
Oh, there you go.
You guys ready? Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Everybody get a chance to look at the minutes of the previous?
Yes. Move to approve.
All second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Financial reports, September and October are included. You got any questions for Ian, or?
One thing that the finance director wanted us to note, that you see there is a negative fund balance currently. Most of that's going to be reconciled at the end of the year when we receive the second half taxes, so.
Okay. Is, the one question I got, and I didn't look at, is, I can't think next door. Alonzo, is he paying it again?
His payments are due to start on, sorry, yes he is, yes he is.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't get the chance to look, so my apologies.
I know he's planning on being up and around here next week in terms of operationability, so that was his goal.
Oh, looking good over there.
Yeah.
All right. So, take them. Do we need to approve that?
Yeah, motion to approve.
Yep. We'll take a motion to approve the finance reports. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next will be our coordinator's report.
Yeah, so as far as business visits going, I'm still really trying to get to as many businesses as I can. I'd say it's been a little bit slow, but I'm hopefully getting more time as things cool down here in the summer. So, and then, let's see, I've had quite a bit of interest, well, not quite a bit of interest, but I've had some interest in our business facade improvement program. That'll be another item on our agenda that I wanted to discuss later on. As far as that goes, let's see, I'll just give a little update on the crop science investigation. So, back at the September meeting, we approved that, and then since then I've drawn up the loan agreement, and then that was signed and everything, and then we did a UCC filing to secure collateral on that, and yeah, his payments are due to start on November 15th, so pretty quick here.
Okay. Excuse me. Thank you. Up next, we got our city administrator's report.
Sure, and you've got a report in the packet there. City elections coming up next week, a lot of different things going on, but I don't have anything really to add this month.
Okay. Perfect. And then next we'll go to our business spotlight with Anytime Fitness.
Yep, so we have Melanie and Beth here.
Good afternoon. I wanted to say good morning to you all. I know when I was typing this out, I was originally like, good morning, because I was typing in the morning, and I was like, just kidding, it's actually going to be afternoon when I get there, so. But anyways, like Ian had said, I'm Melanie, this is Beth. I would just like to start out by saying thank you for picking Anytime Fitness for being the November EDA Business Spotlight. Anytime Fitness was started with, I don't know why I can't talk, so sorry.
Oh, don't be nervous. We're a friendly group here.
I know, and I can work out with people, and I can like...
Start doing some squats and it'll help you.
I was originally going to say like, hey, okay, now we're going to start by doing a group warm-up, so, but let's skip that for now. But yeah, we were started by Chuck and Dave back in 2002 in Minnesota, actually, and from that one club, it has grown now to 4,800 clubs worldwide. And our club in Casson actually opened October 1st of 2009. I just learned about this, but if I would have known it a couple weeks ago, I would have had a birthday party for us. So now I know for next year. I am the newest club manager to join TKO Companies, which bought our club in August of 2014. Our manager, no, just kidding. Our owners are Dan Kern and Mike Hansinger. She knows how to say that last name. Like I said, Beth is our regional manager, and Dan and Mike both have 4 clubs altogether, including us. We, at our club, have 5 trainers. I am one of them. We have an on-call maintenance staff, and we also have 2 cleaning staff that just help keep the club running. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We are a secure facility, so only members can use the club. We're under 24-hour surveillance also. And every year, since 2016, we have been awarded, it's called the Club Purple Award, which means that we are one of the top 500 clubs to be awarded this prestigious award. And we strive every year to hit the requirements to be able to call ourselves a Club Purple. We have in our club 729 fabulous Anytime Fitness members. We like to call them our Fit Fam. So if anybody has ever gotten an email from me, you'll see me saying like, hey, Fit Fam, or hashtag Fit Fam. And I love, since I've started in August of this year, and I've just loved being able to get out into the community and meet more people. I've made it to a few chamber meetings, just getting one. I've only made it to one so far. But I've only made it since there's been two, which I've really enjoyed. I am always looking for ways to be able to get out into the community more and bring the community into us also, because nutrition, fitness, mindset, it really all comes together. And like Ian was saying to me anyways, that if Anytime Fitness wasn't here in town, where would people be able to go? Where would they have support to help them along their wellness journey? And going forward, we would like to be able to supply the tools. I don't even know why I wrote anything down. We would like to be a place where people leave feeling better than when they arrived, mentally anyways, you know. When they should leave, they should feel like, holy crap, that was a hard workout. And then we want our club to be a place of community to help members reach their goals with our knowledgeable and educated staff. All of our trainers are all actually certified, also nationally certified, so they're not just a random person like, hey, I'm a fitness coach off, you know, Facebook or whatever. No, they're actually certified, that know what they're talking about. They have to stay up to date. It's really, I've been through a couple training sessions, and I thought I was, like, in shape, and I left like, holy crap, I don't like you anymore, but that's good. So, I mean, it was a good workout. And we have the tools to help our members any season of life that they're in, whether they're training for specific sports, you know, feet like a marathon or tennis, I don't even know, all the way up to just elderly, keeping them strong, keeping them independent, helping mobility, helping balance, helping keep their bones strong. It's everything. It's so much. And I'd just really like to say, you know, thank you for the community, for acknowledging us, being a part of us, helping us grow, because without our members, we wouldn't be here. I would just like to be able to continue growing and being of service, and I'm always open to hearing new ideas from people of just how we can help better serve. All right. Do you guys have any?
Sure. How many members do you have in town? I mean, memberships?
About 729.
In Casson itself, or is that?
Yep, Casson. Well? No, just us, just here in Casson.
Okay, awesome.
And I know there's people that come from Rochester, that live in Rochester. There's people from West Concord, Manorville, Dodge Center, Claremont that come over to us.
So that many members, do you feel like you have an adequate location? Do you feel like you have enough space? Do you have enough parking? Would you be looking at a different location where you could grow and expand more?
I personally would like to expand more, but I do not sign the checkbook. But I would like to.
I mean, I know parking, you know, a lot of folks mention parking as being an issue, and I know that it's a little tight in there, especially on Main Street and, you know, across the street. You know, we've got some of the restaurants and businesses, and then with this roundabout, that'll probably impact the parking, not a tremendous amount, but a little bit. It'll slide some of that traffic down a little bit. So,
where are you?
Because, I mean, that's one of the goals of the EDA, is always to help our businesses grow. And to, you know, sometimes that includes, you know, helping with different projects and things like that. So, I mean, I don't know if that can be brought back to your owners, but certainly we're interested in supporting that, I think, as a community. So, and there's land, you know, land available, so
I would be
Very knowledgeable about it.
open to hearing anyone's ideas on the parking. We definitely know that is an issue. I mean, every time I'm here, which is at least once a week, I'm backing up going, boy, I hope I don't hit the building. But, you know, if you're a regular member, you should probably know where that building is by now. But I'm definitely looking for some input on where we could expand that.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
well, that's good.
Yeah.
And then, just in terms of, you know, operations and stuff like that, obviously, I'm sure COVID had an impact on all the fitness centers. That was a big, have you feel like you've kind of come out of that now pretty well? It's pretty well back to normal and all that sort of thing?
Yes, I was here during COVID. I've been the regional manager for almost 4 years, and we were shut down for 5 months. That was a very, very hard hit, but we have seen our numbers drop during that time to the lowest of low, and we have definitely climbed out of that hole now after 2+ years of being reopened, and, you know, we have to thank all of you guys for that.
And then I just have one other question. So people, you know, would say, okay, you know, do you have like partial memberships? Do you have 3 months? Do you have year? And how much are the costs per month?
So we have, right now we have 2 memberships, a 12-month or an 18-month membership contract.
Okay.
We do offer different discounts and corporate offers for area businesses, and then the discounts kind of go off of like EMT,
That must be
veterans.
part of it, because I mean, I know, like our fire department, for example, you know, they're looking at a different facility, but one thought that the council has, maybe some of that weightlifting or some of the exercise that could be done via that, there'd be maybe a special rate than they could do?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, and we offer 15%
Okay.
for that. And then, so a 12-month contract without any discounts, just a base membership, is $53.20, and an 18-month contract is $43.70.
43.70.
43.7.
Mhm.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
When you're saying, you know, your parking issue, and I obviously agree, how many cars on average are in the parking lot at one time, you know?
On average, in the parking lot, on average, there's probably 3. And I do notice, like, myself, like, when I leave, and I normally leave between 4 and 5 in the evening, trying to pull out onto Main Street, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get hit, because I gotta, like, pull all the way out, you know, because I go towards Dodge, I live in West Concord, so back, and I'm like, eaching out, but, yeah, that I'm always like, oh, but, yeah, you guys are thinking about putting in a roundabout?
Roundabout, there's actually 2, one will be at County 34, which, and then it's a mini right at Main Street,
Oh, okay.
so, yeah. That's what, scheduled to go in spring of next year,
Oh,
both of
okay.
them at the same time,
Oh, all right.
a little different.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it would help, I don't know. Yeah, Main Street, I've definitely noticed seems to be, always be busy, and then just trying to pull it, you can't really see, just with the way the parking is, you really can't. Which, I know, I kind of think, I'm like, at least we have on-site parking, so it makes it a little easier, but it's still, just pulling out is
Yeah.
nerve-wracking. But,
Tough.
yeah.
Would you like to see the speed limit on those 3 blocks of Main Street slower? So that, I mean, having an
Possibly.
office on Main Street for many years, 30 is fast.
It is.
It is flying down there when you're trying to get backed out on Main Street.
Especially if you can't really see until almost the last minute that, yeah, it's like, holy smokes, gotta go.
Yeah, and they're going by at 30, and, you know, you think they're flying, but they're going by at 30.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's a good idea. I would be open to that, slowing it down a little bit. Even when I go across the street to wash our rags and stuff for cleaning, just, there's not a side, or like an actual crosswalk right there, and so I just, you know, kind of work at a gym, so I just kind of run across, but still, sometimes I'll do lunges across, but just to show people, you know, no, just kidding.
Do you guys have a camera that we could bring up of her doing lunges?
Out across the street? Outside, yeah. It'll be a new, you know, I'll post it everywhere. But even, like, yeah, just trying to get across sometimes, I'm like, holy buckets, I gotta 'cause 30 is fast sometimes, so.
Yeah.
But, no, I get that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'll take a picture then. Do you wanna come up here, Dan?
Yeah.
Oh, me too. I'll take a picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna have to stand kind of right up there, and Ian and Dan will be here, so they got a lot of information to have, okay?
Ooh.
Yeah, wanna stand up there, how we did last month? 2 months ago, I guess. Yeah.
And they will never lower.
Perfect. They'll see right over it. No, that's perfect, thank you very much. All right, say cheese.
Cheese.
All right, perfect, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no enforcement you could possibly do.
By the way, I'm sure she's got a discount for any city council members.
We do.
You hear that, Mr. Mayor? The discount for the mayor.
Wow, what was that?
Wait,
One
workout
time.
session. Each new member also gets
They'll be
3
right over
sessions.
there, I'm sure.
Each new member gets 3 sessions with a personal trainer too.
All right.
So, and it's always, I always forget to tell people this too, well, when I talk, but even if you've been a member, because I have some members that have been members since like 2014, and they tell me all about it, they can still meet with one of our trainers just to, you know, get new ideas, or check form, or ask questions. It's not, you have to pay to meet the trainer. You can just reach out to them and have free sessions with them here and there, so, to help you, you know. Yes, we would like to make money, but we really want to see people grow and reach their goals and be healthy and be part of a fabulous life.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, up next is our tax abatement request by Mike Balo. Sorry.
So including your package, you've got information from Mr. Ballou, including some of the guidelines the EDA approved earlier this year, application information, some location information, and then what we'll do, I think, if you're all right with that, is we'll have Mr. Ballou talk about the project a little bit and why they're looking at tax abatement. Is that right, Dan?
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect. Mike, go ahead.
Well, good afternoon, members of the committee. So Mike Ballou for the OSFP, for Kansas City, Missouri.
This new
We're a
construction,
national
this tiny
preferred
little check
developer
marker.
for Dollar Tree.
Yeah, it's kind of
So we're doing multiple projects in your state now. We've actually been pursuing this project for well over a year now, so working with Mr. Schutte, the landowner. So it's been a slow process, but I think we're making good headway. But Ian is correct. We are looking for some form of incentive to help offset some of the cost of the project. Mainly the cost related to the public infrastructure piece, which is the expansion of 12 streets and then the utility related to it. So we've worked with WPS Engineering, as well as our engineering firm, to get some cost estimates for those costs. Normally, we would view these as somewhat public costs, but they're just costs in general, and so we need some assistance here. But WPS, as well as our consultant, came up with a site plan, infrastructure needs. We've talked to several individuals locally about those improvements, approximately $200,000. So we are here to ask for some assistance help getting this project going. Since we've actually started pursuing this project, the market has changed on us slightly, just due to inflationary environments, interest rates, and supply chain issues that affect the cost as well. We're still very interested in the project, but as of today, we do need some assistance to get the project over the finish line. So we have provided an outline of the tax abatement program. We're looking for a 9-year tax abatement at 100%. That'll set off about $142,000 approximately of the $200,000 cost that we'll be incurring for the public infrastructure piece. So just a little background on our group. Based in Kansas City, Missouri, national developer, East Coast to West Coast, for Dollar Tree specifically. I believe we're on project 120, so we're very efficient. We're very good at this. So we're actually under construction in Wyndham right now, Isle, Locado, so several markets in your state. We will continue to develop within the region, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have. But our timing is now from a design approval standpoint, but most likely we'll be starting construction in April, just based on air conditions. So with that said, we will probably open late August or around Labor Day timeframe of 2023. Here to answer any questions that anybody might have at this time.
So my name's Tom, and looking at, yep, good afternoon. So looking at the application, it looks like, retail store, parking, et cetera. Is it a kind of build-to-lease type project? And if it is, do you have tenants that you're typically working with that, we would, like a type of tenant that we would expect to see in there? Or do you already have some of those end-use items identified?
So we do have a tenant in mind, just for full transparency. We have an agreement with our tenant. Our agreement is a 10-year lease with 4 or 5-year options on top of that. The tenant is, I'll share this publicly, is Dollar Tree. This will be a relatively new concept for Dollar Tree. It's actually a combination of a Dollar Tree, which is 50% of the building, and the other 50% will be Family Dollar. Dollar Tree actually owns Family Dollar. They acquired Family Dollar approximately 4 years ago, and then what it does is helps in the type of portfolio of products sold in the store. Significant amount more food, as far as fresh produce, fresh poultry, proteins, etc. But it also provides a different pricing structure. So it's a wide variety of wide variety of products sold in the store because of the 2 different flags.
Does anybody else got any questions for Mike or Jim?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we've got the application here, and if there's any other questions, we can take those now. Otherwise, I think the EDA will have to discuss it, and then, our time frame realistically would probably, I guess that's a good question, is you talk about April. The council meets twice a month. EDA is going to be reviewing this and having to make some kind of recommendation to the council. When do you need to have an answer by, I guess, on this sort of project?
Well, my contract or agreement with the landowner expires 12/31.
Okay.
So if we can't get a decision prior to that, then I would need to work with the city on expanding that agreement. But, besides this approval, we still have to submit our drawings to the city and work through that city approval process, getting a building permit in place. We'd like to have all that done prior, to closing ground, obviously. We'll need a building permit. So we've got quite a bit of work to do. But this is really the first step for us to still take the next step moving forward. Sure.
No, I appreciate that. Then other question I would have would be on the engineering side of it. So, which firm was it that you were working with?
WPS.
WPS. Okay. Have they been in contact with the WHKS, the city engineer, to discuss this?
I know that they were working in conjunction with Mr. Schutte.
Okay.
Mr. Schutte is working with him on his master plan community, or the master plan project. So we've basically worked with him in conjunction to that. So we've been in touch with them, and they've given us quite a bit of information to coordinate with the overall master plan for the project, but also as far as local approval process.
Okay, because the firm I thought they were working with was WSE.
That might be it, sir.
Okay, no, that's fine, just making sure, because I know that they're a locally based engineering firm, and I know the city engineer had identified a few sewer issues, but I can touch base with our city engineer and see if he's had a good conversation with him about that, so. Any other questions for Mr. Ballou right now?
No.
No.
Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Not a problem. So I appreciate the opportunity. So I look forward to hearing from the group on questions, concerns, timing, just knowing that, so we can coordinate on the backside.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Do we know who the other gentleman was?
Matt Crawford.
I must have missed the introduction there. Anyway, just get that for the minutes, who the other gentleman was on the call.
Yep.
All right, so that gives us an opportunity now, we would have some discussion on this project and sort of see where the EDA is at. I think the expectation from staff is the EDA will review and then make a recommendation to the council whether they want to see this pursued or not.
Do you know, you got a value in there of like 1.2 million, do you know what the tax base will be on that?
Yeah, I think,
minus what they want to
I think if, in one of your sheets there, you should have it. And Ian worked with Mr. DeCook at the county just to check on these numbers. That was one of the things that we worked on, make sure those were real numbers. And he did it, Mr. DeCook did identify that valuation of 1.2 million, I think, was it?
It was like 1.3. He gave a range, like 1.3 to 1.6, something like that.
So we took a conservative number on
close.
that. And we also looked at what the Dollar General is, and the Dollar General itself isn't valued at that same level, but I think because of the new construction and stuff like that. So that was one thing I want to tell you, but staff did that. We did take a look at valuations to make sure that it lined up properly. The other thing we did was we tried to evaluate whether tax abatement was the best vehicle for this. We did look at TIF. You know, that's something the city has a tool, and when we looked at that, it didn't seem to be the best fit. The only way that could possibly fit at all would be if it was considered to be a brownfield redevelopment TIF. And because you do have a current site where you have the paint shop there, you know, you could make a case that it's a brownfield redevelopment, you know, which is typically used a lot in the metro for derelict buildings or something like that, where it's like an old gas station or something like that. So we looked at that, and of all the types of TIF, that seemed to be, it might be possible. However, after we reviewed it, we just felt like that was probably going to be a little hard to justify. And so we were more comfortable with the tax abatement process. Now, what they're asking for here is just a city tax abatement. You'll be familiar with, at least council members, I don't remember if we talked about it, I think we did, for Vail. We did do a collaborative tax abatement for the Vail project with the county and the school district. And as part of our process, what we would do is we would forward their request for tax abatement to the county and the school district as well. I don't foresee there being participation, at least from the school. I think they had a special incentive to participate with the Vail project because of the population gains. That was kind of how it was. But the county might possibly look at that, and so obviously if the county's participating as well, that would reduce the amount of years that we would have. I know the council's sort of guided me towards the shorter tax abatement, the better. You know, obviously we want to try and incentivize them. So they're asking for 9 years. That doesn't mean that we necessarily have to give them 9 years if we chose to make a recommendation to council, so.
And that's 100% of the city's portion of the tax?
That's correct.
Yep.
So we have zero to the tax base, basically, for 9 years.
For the 9 years, yeah.
New revenue, right?
Zero new tax revenue, that's right.
Yeah, we would keep the base that we already
The
have.
base there isn't
Yeah.
very much right now being.
Right.
Well, right, so we wouldn't be losing anything either, that's right.
Right.
But it'd be deferred, kind of a deferred tax increase, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first thing is, you know, do we, well, I guess the first question I would have is, I mean, it's interesting that they're putting in a Family Dollar Tree next to Dollar General. I don't, you know, I mean, I personally speaking, I don't have like a huge, deep loyalty to Dollar General, but I do recognize that they are an existing business that we have. Do we, you know, I mean, the first thing is, I mean, do we feel like we're, you know, stepping into the role of picking, you know, kind of, I don't like stepping into the role of picking winners and losers, I guess, and when it comes to tax abatement, when you have comparable businesses. So that's one. I mean, I think you make the case that there's key differences here, you know, with some of what they're talking about in terms of, kind of the combination of the two flags. You know, there might be more demand in town for that kind of thing anyways, but I mean, that'd be the first. I do think that has to be discussed. I think the second one then, if we say, you know, we do feel like this adds, you know, value to the community that we don't currently have. I mean, you know, he mentioned that they have a 5-year, was it a 5-year lease with a 4-year extension option afterwards? To which point then I don't, I mean, we may want to consider matching up the length of our abatement to the length of the guaranteed portion of their lease.
It was 10 years with 4 or 5 year options.
Yes.
Oh,
That's what
I
it
got
was.
you.
The initial is 10 years.
I got you. Okay, so they are there the whole time.
5-year
That's,
options after
okay,
that.
because I don't want to do.
I'm glad you asked that, because I was gonna ask if they had a guaranteed lease, it was at least 9 or 10 years. And
Yeah, because I don't want to, I wouldn't want to do a tax abatement that extends beyond the guaranteed portion of their lease. I mean, that'd be one thing. Then the second piece of it is I tend to like kind of stair-step downs out of abatement. So even if we decide we want to do a few years of 100%, we might want to, say, well, we do 100% for, I don't know, for a couple of years, whatever, the 5 years, 3 years, or whatever. And but then stair-step out and say 5 years, then it's 75, 50, 25, 0, and that kind of gets us out.
Well, and that's a good point, Tom. I know that that's something that I've contemplated too, is maybe doing 5 years at the full amount, and then 2 years at, 50%, and 2 years at 25%, and then kind of being done with it at the 9-year mark. Because I agree, I think and I don't know, I can't speak 100% for the council, but I think typically they like to see their payback a little bit faster than 9 years, especially on a business of this nature. I will say that, one of the things I was tasked with when I first started here was to try and see if we could broaden the tax base, which is by bringing different kinds of businesses in, looking at how other communities in our area, especially Byron, is doing it. This is exactly what they're doing. This is how they're getting O'Reilly Auto Parts, they're doing a coffee shop. So it's not out of line with what communities in our area are doing. So, because if it was, then we wouldn't be looking at it. So, I mean, that's my, perspective on it, because I'm kind of ambivalent too. It isn't a business that I'm overwhelmingly, in need of, but also I think that long-term, we do want to take a look, and I think you've all seen the plans that Mr. Shuey has for the entire, property, or at least his preliminary plans. He's expecting commercial along that kind of eastern third of his property, and this would be the first, business there that I suspect without tax abatement, they probably won't pursue it, because I don't know that he has the financing to, especially at 7% or 6.5% or whatever the rates are right now, to be able to move forward with this. So, but those are great questions, so I appreciate that, Tom.
Excuse me. The question I forgot to ask him too was if he knew roughly how many employees would be full-time, part-time.
You know that?
I don't know that.
Because that's a good question. We can definitely follow up with him. So, I mean, that's part of it, is if you have questions you think of, over the next couple of weeks,
Direct them to me.
Direct them to Ian, let Ian know, say, hey, this is a good question I had, what's the sitch? Because, for us to do a tax abatement and justifying it, I think new jobs would be something we could take a look at.
Yeah.
If they're gonna create 10 new jobs, then...
It makes it a little easier, because then that might
Exactly.
be 10 people in town that've got a job, or new people in town, or whatever.
And I would probably want to know too, I think, usually we try and get wage ranges on those.
Yes.
On those job creation numbers.
Yep. An estimate, yeah.
Yeah, an estimate, yeah, usually give a bracket.
So that's something you need to look into.
And then, well, I guess I was saying, you've mentioned what other towns do. This is a little bit, I don't know if it's self-serving, but chamber serving. I was gonna say, I had it mentioned to me once that on Byron tax abatements, they're required to join the chamber in Byron. I don't even know, is that illegal? I don't
think
even...
that's coercion.
I mean, we could certainly strongly suggest it.
You can
We
suggest
could ask for them to take a look at it, but I'm not sure that we could really require, I don't know legally.
Yeah, well, it came up when Culligan moved to Byron, they were like, hey, this is kind of interesting, there's a clause in our developer agreement that we join the Byron Chamber for the length of the...
Abatement?
Yeah.
Ah.
So I don't know, thought I'd never heard...
Who's really gonna take a stand for the $150 membership?
Right.
Say, I'm not doing it, they'll just do it. But it's just funny that you can make somebody join a...
Well, you can do it, or you just don't do it, and let the
What's
city come
funny is
back
they
and try
would
to...
write it down in black and white,
Well,
and nobody's questioning it.
Yeah, I mean, you
Put
gotta
it out
pass it
there.
through, you're passing it through public hearings and stuff. I mean, it's kind of, so I was gonna say, I mean, if that...
We should slip that in there to see what they say.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm kidding.
I mean, hey, we'll take, we'll tell you, they sound like,
Well, I'd like them to have to do their accounting in town, too.
keep...
Oh, boy.
Keep her coming.
Wow.
Now it's in bad.
Yeah, self-serving, banking in Manorville, and accounting in Captain, and... And the appraisal might be really nice, too, and...
Financial services.
To piggyback on what Tom's saying, though, it's a good opportunity, I think, as a bridge for Ian, as the representative for the city with these EDA projects, new business coming to town, to maybe arrange with, since Tom's the president of the chamber right now, hey, we got a new business thinking about coming to town, or hey, it just got approved, hook them up so they can come in and talk to the other businesses and at least introduce themselves. And if they see value there, then they can join. I don't know if we can, you can highly suggest that they go to a chamber meeting to introduce themselves, then.
Yeah. Well, we'll wanna do.
Just invite them.
Yeah,
We'll wanna do a groundbreaking, ribbon cutting type stuff for them,
Yeah.
obviously, but, I did wanna bring that up, 'cause I remember, Kevin Krippner telling me about that when Culligan went there, like over a year ago, and I thought,
See, they should've stayed here, we wouldn't have made them join the chamber.
what in the heck, yeah.
We wouldn't have given them tax abatement
We're not
either,
doing it
right?
right, we gotta be getting all kinds of people.
So, and the only question that I've got, or I guess if you're gonna call it a two-part question, is what's our precedent we've set in the past with tax abatements? Because we've always had the stance, at least since I've been involved for 6 years, the development pays for development. So, aside from housing, that's a whole different thing, because our comprehensive plan said we need multi-family housing, the apartments, and that was.
Right, was a priority of the council, yeah.
And getting new business in town is also a priority. Who have we told no to, or have we told anybody no in the last 4 or 5 years that we won't do tax abatement, just go away or you're done? And all of a sudden now we're changing. And if that's the case, we need to have the justification as to why we're changing our practice. We don't have a policy, we just have a practice.
Yeah, I don't think we've necessarily said no to any commercial,
I think the only thing we've
projects.
done is the soil reclamation on the west side of town, because that soil was deficient, so they got an abatement for that.
Well, so Mr. Alonzo, he has a tax abatement. The soil correction one, Vale, I think those are the only three that I know of
Just make
that
sure
we're
we're not
currently actively doing. Yeah.
Saying yes to this, and then all of a sudden somebody comes back and says, hey, 6 months ago you told us no, and...
Yeah, as far as I know, since I've been here, I haven't told anyone a blank no. My perspective is always, if you have a proposal, bring it, we'll discuss it. I may say this seems unlikely to proceed. Talking with Mr. Blue originally, I told him I thought it seemed unlikely to proceed, but he chose to bring the application forward anyways.
I have no problem with the abatement process and them asking for the abatement, because you don't get it if you don't ask, so...
Exactly.
I mean, ask for it, it's a tool that's in our toolbox. But I agree with Tom, everybody's saying, like 100%...
Too much over
for
time.
9 years, I'd rather see 100% for a few years and then slowly ratchet down. Because yes, they are bringing probably a dozen jobs to town, or 20 part-time jobs, wherever it's gonna be, and it gives people a choice. It does bring another service to town, and that's their due diligence that they had to do, that they wanna put it next to a Dollar General. I've seen them as I've traveled, since I've heard that's going in for the last year. I've seen it in multiple communities where they build it right next to each other. If you don't find it in one, you go to the other, so they kinda help each other with the marketing. That's their...
It's kind of, I think they see it as a cumulative effect. more
That's
than-
their business.
Right,
So
similar
they can-
to a coffee shop, if you see one, you'll see another one across the street and another one.
Right.
It's 'cause if that one's busy, they're gonna go there.
It's Menards
They
Home
had
Depot
that
thing.
But yeah, they
years
know.
ago, 4 gas stations on each corner.
I just would like to see the
Marketing
abatement
knows.
as we're working through that
Well,
with them.
so I've just done
Kind of
some,
ratchet in,
I just
because
did some rough calculations here, and if you do full for the first 5, and then you do 50% in year 6 and 7, and 25% in year 8 and 9, that would reduce it by about 40,000. So you'd still be providing a net benefit of 103,000, which is still a pretty substantial
Which is
benefit
half
to
of
them.
what-
Which, it's half of what they're looking at as their option cost, or their cost of
Which then
infrastructure.
means they're putting in just as
So,
much.
to your point about, development paying for development, it
And the
might be
county
a
can-
small change to that, but...
Right, the county can jump on this too.
Well, it'd be, I think part of it would be, we're not just serving Casson, this would also be serving Manorville for sure. Because
Right.
Manorville definitely does not have that kind of shopping available right now,
It's a county asset, West Concord, even Dodge,
Yeah.
they've got their own dollars, but I mean,
Yeah.
the county should be approached and...
I think that would be, my goal would be to say, okay, even if they only go for 2 or 3 years, that's still gonna reduce our impact for sure, which would be great.
And that would be, then we would be getting some revenue in the first couple of years.
Exactly.
Because it is gonna, we're still covering it with law enforcement, we're still covering it with fire
Yeah.
department, we'll have costs of serving it, so if the county would somehow come on there, so anyway, a structure like
So,
that...
what we'll do is,
acceptable for council.
you wanna follow up with Laura Coyley
Yeah.
at Dodge County, and, we have 3 commissioners that represent Casson, so, hopefully they're having, open minds and open ears, and they can, get an agenda for either November or early December, 'cause it sounds like he'd like to know by the end of December for timeline. What's it?
Oh,
Why do we have three that represent
You got,
Casson?
Pieces and parts.
Because,
Yeah, Mr. Shostis is just
in the
just
center.
Casson, and then you've got John Allen and you've
On the
got
north
Rodney, they
side.
both have a precinct of Casson, so.
Oh,
Yeah, they extend way out into the townships, but they do get kind of...
But they cover part of
parts
town.
it. Like, I
Okay.
think Peterson he probably has the south of 14 part, I would guess.
Actually, his goes all the way up to, 4th Street now.
And then John Allen's right around.
And John Allen stops at 16th Street for the most part, but now he's gonna have your neighborhood too, so.
He does, yes.
Yeah.
With the new district.
Chosis is just kind of the metropolitan area of Casson.
Yep.
The heart.
us.
Yeah.
The
core.
The core.
So I mean, you know, like you said, I mean, the county's not gonna lose anything by this either, so it would make sense to go and talk to them about it.
All right.
Is there any other feedback? Otherwise, I mean, it sounds like we're receptive to potentially a project here.
With this, yeah, with different numbers and answers to the questions possibly, and then,
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll follow up on those questions, and if there's any questions, like I said, get them to Ian. Try to do it this week or early next week, that way it's timely. And then I'll expect to bring this back at our next EDA meeting for maybe a finalization. We have 2 council meetings in December, 14th and the 21st scheduled, so if we can have the EDA kind of make a recommendation at the December meeting, we'll have it for the council then. Does that make sense?
Do we have a, like a subcommittee that looks over things like this in more detail? I know we have our loan committee, but I wasn't sure if we had a, basically, whether it's like a subsidy or a other type of business.
No, I think the whole EDA has usually been looking at those, yeah.
Yeah, because this one's fairly simple, I think, but, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying you can get some fairly complex ones that, I'm guessing if Shooty's got a master community thing going on out there, we're probably gonna start seeing some, little bit
Well, it's
more-
certainly up to EDA, you know, if you feel like a smaller group is necessary, I mean, always, I know adding another meeting, people's schedules can be difficult. Sometimes our loan review committee has some issues, but we're certainly open to, whatever the EDA decides that they wanna do.
Yeah. So, I mean, something we can think about when the, you know, if a situation comes up, but I just thought I'd double check.
Sure.
I mean, I think in terms of justification for differences, in terms of developer, I think it is good that it does diversify our tax base some, which I like. I do also think that, having a little cluster of kind of these little retail spots is probably also a good, option for, like, high school jobs, kind of right next to the school there, especially if we're improving the walkways, on 16th Street to get in there. I know that would be, you know, a little bit of a benefit. So I think there's a little bit of differences than just talking about, yeah, like another housing subdivision, that it provides some different unique benefits that, we don't, you know, that we haven't gotten on a lot of previous applications.
all right. We'll wait for some more feedback for our next meeting. Up next, we got our downtown lot, Pedals to Metals.
Right, so, just to recap, Jill Bondus was here at our September meeting where the EDA approved her offer or accepted her offer to purchase those downtown lots. And so, since then, I've been communicating with her a bit. I've sent her a purchase agreement, but really, what Ms. Bondus is concerned about is the possibility of remnants of the previous buildings that were at those lots. So what she would like, she wasn't able to make it to this meeting here today, but she did send me a proposal to do a soil borings and a geotechnical evaluation. And she's requesting that the EDA would cover the cost of that, cover the cost of those soil borings and geotechnical evaluation, which the value stated in the proposal is $2,340. Let's see here.
Is there something in particular she's concerned with in the?
She's concerned about the building costs increasing significantly because she would like to put in a basement of the building that she intends to put on those lots. But if there's remnants that are buried underground, then she's concerned that the costs of building would increase drastically to the point where she wouldn't be able to do the project.
And nobody in the city for sure knows.
Well, so, I mean, I did ask Ian, and he did some research in the files, so this was demoed in 2007, and he wasn't able to find any documentation. He contacted the company that did demolition. Go ahead, Ian.
Right, so I attempted to contact the company that did the demo, but that company no longer exists. And I even contacted the company that took it over, and they don't maintain any records from the
Who was the
previous...
company that did it before,
It
Swanky?
was Bob Bratton. Bob Bratton.
So we did talk to one of their previous staff members who currently works in excavation still, and he indicated it was a slab-on-grade building. So he didn't believe that there were any issues there, and Ian and I had talked about this core sampling, so we did discuss it with the city engineer as well, and his recommendation was not for the city to pursue it, partly because it's for soil borings. There isn't necessarily any guarantee that you won't hit something in the soil, but we had talked about this and kind of had rejected it, and then she brought forward her own proposal, so we wanted to bring it to you for feedback. I mean, if it's what, you know, is necessary to sell the lot, then it may be a worthwhile expense. At the same time, if she's doing soil borings and they hit a piece of concrete that's buried, that shouldn't really affect necessarily a digging of a basement, but it might be a red flag for her as well.
Did she change her plan? Yeah,
There
remember a
was a-
slab on grade with a
Yep.
second story.
Yeah, and we had talked about that. Yeah, and I don't know, I mean, it sounded like she felt like that was probably gonna cost more, and it's gonna be less cost effective, yeah.
It's usually cheaper to go up, but I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, I'm not debating with you, I mean...
I don't know.
Coming from her, not from us, so...
So it did change, though, her plan?
Has
The way I understood it, she wanted to do a basement originally, but she did, when she came to visit, she did say that it was an option to do a second story instead.
Okay.
What's, if we went forward with it, what's to say that she hits just one thing and then stops, but yet it could have been a weird fluke, that there was one piece of cement. Would we be more apt to have her paying half, or all of it? Because it's gonna benefit her more than...
Well, so my initial feedback to her was that if she'd like to do soil borings, then, you know, she's certainly welcome to. I'm not gonna, you know, if she's interested a lot, she's doing her due diligence, it makes sense, but that we weren't necessarily interested in paying for it, because I don't see a need for it to be done. But, you know, her perspective as well, you know, she feels like the EDA should pay for it. So you could come back and you could say, well, we'll pay 50% of it, I mean, and, you know, if you chose to, or you could say, no, we're not gonna pay for any of it, and she has to make a choice.
And we were selling both lots for 10? Is that right?
12, I think.
11.5.
Yeah.
so...
One of the things we talked about doing was, as part of the purchase agreement, that we would include that if we paid for this, then it would be, you know, incumbent upon her to purchase those lots, basically. Saying, okay, if we're gonna, you know, almost making it contingent that she has to buy the lots then, or something like that.
No, I don't know, that gets a little dicey to me, because if she does get in there and it's like huge issues, you know, we're basically forcing her to...
Buy something that she may say no.
Right, well, I mean, that's the whole point of we're doing due diligence, right? Like, that's the concept of it, regardless who pays for it, so I don't know if you can have in there a stipulation that you have to buy it if, you know, if we pay. I think probably best off, to me, the best option would be to basically say, you know what, we're willing to basically do take money out of our facade, you know, because I don't think we used all our facade improvement money this year, right? Basically just say, we're gonna follow that, but we're doing it, we're gonna choose to take it out of that program, you know, do the same 50/50, basically reimbursement kind of thing. And just say, you know, we're treating it as a Main Street improvement investment, you know, which is kind of the concept of the program, is to get nice looking stuff, you know.
We're selling the two lots for 11.5?
Or at least roll half the cost into the price?
I think it's already a fairly reasonable
I think her
purchase.
I think it's very
So-
reasonable too, I think, but she's, in her mind, she's not here, but just trying to think in her shoes. If she pays for it and it comes back a mess, well, she's out $2,300 and she's obviously not gonna buy it because she can't put there what she wants, so that's just the risk she's gonna have to take. And I don't think she wants to take that risk. Opportunity cost.
I mean, the city demoed them, whether that's a loss or not, I mean, that's the negative fund balance on those lots, so.
But every time they sit there empty, it's just another...
Right, another opportunity cost.
How about parking?
Yeah, I don't think parking would probably work because it's being too narrow.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess here's the thought, okay, so to the point about, you know, losing those costs, so if we include it somehow in a purchase agreement where we say, okay, you know, it can be rolled in, or we'll pay part of it or something like that, and then if she doesn't build within a certain period of time, or she doesn't build at all, then we recoup the cost of the soil borings and the cost of the lots that she paid. I mean, that way, if it doesn't come to, I mean, because if a new building comes up, then $2,500 is not something that I'd be overly concerned with. I mean, that's why the EDA has a budget, because we know that we aren't gonna get everything back out of it. But, I mean, that'd be my stance, is if something nothing happens there, we spent money, and, you know, I would think we wanna recapture that somehow.
Could we say if, you know, let's say she does that, you know, she pays for it, but if she comes back with a, you know, that paid receipt at that time, we'll basically treat that as earnest money or something.
And reduce it against the cost of the lots, or...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's up to the EDA,
Yeah, I'm just saying to me, it seems like, I mean, it's a small amount, honestly, like the $2,600 in the grand scheme of things. If you're talking about putting up a new building, it's a small amount.
I mean, I guess I can see that, where you're counting it off against the purchase price, but that way, if she doesn't purchase it, then she's out the money and we're not paid. But that might be a good thought.
Because that way, we're reimbursing her essentially with a reduced lot price, you know, only if she buys them. But, you know, so then she still has to risk, you know, like if it falls through, I mean, we're not cutting her a check, or, you know, I guess whoever a check, but it gives her a little bit of and so, I mean, because I honestly, like, if we had negotiated a sale price on the lots of $9,000 instead of $11,500, I guess, I mean, would we have shut it down? I guess, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe we would have said, yes, that's the breaking point.
Basically just getting something for the lots, to get something for the lots.
I hope that we get future
To get
development.
some kind of
Yeah, I mean, ultimately,
not
we
even
want...
the 11,000 we're getting for the lots isn't the...
Yeah, we want something on
We
there.
want somebody to have something invested and build something.
No, I mean, I kinda like that idea, Tom, is that we would write that off against the purchase price, because then, you know, we're not on anything if she doesn't buy it, because that was what my goal was.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I'd even pay for it if I was guaranteed that she was gonna buy the lots and build the building. That is our whole goal, we want a new building if we can get it on Main Street. So, I mean, I think that's probably a good response to her, at least.
Yeah.
I don't expect there to be a lot of issues based on the colloquial feedback that I received, but at the same time, you know, you never know.
You never know.
Nothing's a guarantee.
Right.
I do like that option.
Yeah.
You guys run with that then?
Yeah, I mean, if we can maybe have a motion to proceed with that, and it'll give us official direction.
I'll make the motion as presented. Do you want me to...
No, I think we got a motion to take those costs against the purchase, allow the cost if the purchase agreement is executed, and when the purchase agreement is executed.
Yep.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? If you want to forward that to her, that she pay it, and then we can...
Did we want to give her a deadline to respond or anything like this? I don't believe we did before, and really she hasn't commented one way or another on the purchase agreement that I'd already sent her.
By next meeting.
Yeah, 30 days.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Plenty of time for her to make a decision. I mean,
If she wants to go forward with this, she's gonna want to
I
move,
mean, she also probably...
wants to move as early as she can.
Yeah, I mean, soil borings, I don't think get cheaper if you do it in January, so...
It'll just take them one day anyways, really,
Can
to
you
do
even do
it.
it if the ground is frozen?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure.
Okay,
We'll just
I
punch right
have no
through it.
idea. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for that. Next up is our business facade improvement program.
Yeah, so like I mentioned during my coordinator's report, I did get a couple of interested people who would be looking at pursuing our business facade improvement program. However, as it is, the deadline to submit an application for that is November 29th. So I guess we would need to be looking at whether to extend the program into next year.
Well, and I know there's a business that's coming to town by spring of next year that would need facade improvement. So I would certainly think that would be in the best interest of the EDA and the city that we do extend it.
Right.
For another year.
I'll make a motion to extend the facade improvement program for 2023.
I'll extend it, or second the extension.
Any other discussion? We'll take, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That passes. So, yeah, that's gonna be,
There's money left in there anyway, isn't there?
Yeah, it's funded, so.
yeah.
And that is exciting, you're talking about the restaurant on Main Street, so
Yes.
that'll be really a cool thing, Tammy's Tavern.
And she's trying to potentially buy for the building. She can give it
Oh, that'd be ideal.
Oh,
Yeah, you see his note in the window?
that is roll boring, okay.
But she's still trying. All right.
Is that down where, this place?
Any other business?
Informationally speaking, I've found a replacement that I'll be recommending to the council to take, was it Jill?
Jill's?
Sure, I remember Jill's. Great. Rest of her term, so and I'll be making that recommendation at the meeting tomorrow night. I'll add it to the mayor's report. So Jonathan Emke from Camp.
Oh, yeah, he'd be great.
So,
Great.
talking to him.
Spotlight.
Is that an EDA
He was the
seat,
EDA, yeah.
or he is just,
He'd just be
from
an EDA
the-
guy.
EDA seat.
Yep,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
an
the chamber decided, or voted, or whatever we did, I don't know, we did something, and they...
We did something.
We did something. I asked, hey, what's, you know, like, what's going on, like, is Jill coming or not? And she
Yeah.
said, you know, and it really seems redundant if you as president are on there to have a separate liaison. And so then, I said, yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair, you know, and so then the board voted to combine, basically say the liaison is the president.
okay. So we have a liaison from the chamber.
Yep.
But she is not a member?
No, well, that's all, I am now the...
He is now the
I am now
liaison.
the liaison / regular EDA member. I am
You're
all
two
things to all
positions,
people, apparently.
But you don't get 2 votes.
What?
No. You get a half.
Anyway.
I thought I did.
The council meeting is next Wednesday. I'll be making that
Okay.
recommendation next Wednesday, so the next meeting, we'll get Jonathan here. He was very excited to
Step forward to be a
step
member.
forward. And
Cool. Yeah, great.
I asked him.
Nice.
And I
Okay.
think his mom may have encouraged him as well.
Mary told me about it.
If, I'll say informationally, if you wanna come watch me, get, potentially lambasted tonight, you're welcome to come to the forum room at the Casson Manorville High School for the
Can't wait
school
to
board
be there.
candidate.
What time is that?
It is at 7 PM.
That's tonight.
Uh,
Tomorrow there's an informational meeting about the fire hall project at the fire hall at 6 or here, it'll be here at City Hall, but.
Yeah,
about
yeah,
fire
so
hall.
we have, yeah, tis the season for, election information. So tonight, school board candidate forum, 7 to 8:30 PM. We've got 10 of the 11 candidates, coming, so it's gonna be,
Can't miss TV, right there.
it's, we are setting up to live stream. So if you prefer to, keep your distance but still watch, you are able to live stream. And we will upload a recording of it and all that good stuff. So yeah, welcome, people are welcome.
Gotten a lot of questions in?
52.
And then we got, any other items for December's other than what we've, if you do, feel free to send them to Ian.
Christmas cookies.
Christmas cookies is on Mike, apparently.
Okay.
I'm glad Mike's bringing those. Thank you, Mike.
Hey,
Did I volunteer?
Yes. On that,
I'll move to adjourn.
first.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next month. I'd like to talk to you, Tim.
What's that?
I'd like to talk to you.
Okay,
for a
sure.
couple minutes.
No, are you?